On today's show,
the Pistons are 5-0 since waiving Josh Smith. Coincidence or not?
In the Bone Zone, Brent Barry joins us to discuss whether the really big knock should sit Melo down for the season.
And in another round of weekend whoopsies, Kobe Bryant would really like a foul.
It's Monday, January 5th. The starter starts now.
Good day, Sweet World! Happy New Year, and welcome to The Starters. Whether you're joining us live online, listening to the podcast, or catching us on NBA TV, we're very, very happy to have you. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, it's Tess Mellis.
Thanks for joining us.
To my right, the Starters blog editor, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! And finally, the international man of mystery, Lee Ellis.
Friend?
Yes, friend.
Lee, yes, we've got Bones joining us later in the show. Weekend whoopsies. We're going to get right back into this with the Starters in 2015. But we're actually going to start by talking about a few teams who made sort of significant moves, either by addition or subtraction at the end of 2014. We'll start with the Dallas Mavericks, of course, trading for Rajon Rondo, doing pretty well. 6-2 since acquiring Rondo from the Celtics, including Friday night's win against his old team. He was fantastic in that one, 29 points, filled the rest of the box score. Mavs looking good, Tess.
Yeah, things are looking all right. A big question coming into this was, is Monte Ellis going to keep it up? A de facto point guard, but having an all-star year, a guy handling the ball. If Rondo is there, how is he going to be playing off the ball? Well, he's learned to play off the ball. His numbers have not dropped off whatsoever. What about Rondo coming into this #1 offense, a ball-dominant guard? Well, the Mavs say, listen, you got to play off the ball. And he works with a great pick and roll or a penetrating type guard off the ball. Even when he's just working off it, they say, we're running our offense pretty well, Rondo. Just sort of get out of the way. But when he does have the ball in his hands, he's scoring extremely well, surprisingly, because he was obviously struggling in Boston. He has picked it up big time. We worried about sort of the mid-range game, and that hasn't been excellent, let's be honest. Yeah. But the numbers have picked up, going from 8 points to 14 points. The biggest worry was he can't score around the rim. If he can't shoot the ball, why can't he score around the rim? And the percentage has gone up big time within 5 feet. So this #1 offense, where could it have gone? Only down.
That's right.
And it has dropped off a little bit, but they picked him up because the defense has improved. So they've only dropped from 1st to 5th in the offensive category, and because Rondo has been coachable. He's really working with Rick Carlisle. They look like a decent team moving with the ball. Everybody's sort of worried about Rondo off the ball, but the defense has really improved, I think, because he sort of brings an attitude to the team.
If you're Rick Carlisle and you get Rondo and you go from, the best offense in the league to 5th, but you go from defensively one of the worst teams in the bottom 2/3 to now one of the better teams, you're going to take that any day of the week.
Well, they knew they couldn't get better. They knew they couldn't be 1A.
Right.
So defense was the key for sure.
And the question with Rondo defensively was like, does he still have it? Is it just because he's playing on a poor team, a rebuilding team with the Celtics, not really giving it his effort? The answer was yes. There's no doubt. He's even admitted that. He's like, I really haven't played defense in the last couple years. I mean, he was just quoted as saying that over the weekend. And it's true, and I think it's that ability to match up with those, especially in the West, all of those great point guards, that gives the Mavs now a really, really legit chance of going pretty deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, it kind of seems like Rondo has always showed up to play defense when he's playing against great players.
Yes.
When you're in the Western Conference, it's great point guard after great point guard, so there's a reason for him to get up. And you're seeing a bunch of different things that Rondo influences as well. The Mavericks force more turnovers, they get a lot more fast break points, they rebound better, which are the things you thought Rondo would be doing well at. And he has done it so far, and like Tess said, he's fit in a lot better than some people, myself included, thought he would.
And it's only 8 games in, so.
The Mavs would be obviously pretty happy with the returns, but they've caught a few breaks along the way as well. Like the Cavs yesterday, without LeBron, and Kyrie was injured as well. Kevin Durant didn't play in the Thunder game. The Celtics, we know they're struggling. So I'm not trying to, bring a downer on this or anything, but they've also caught some teams at a good time. But still, when you're the Mavericks and you've got a new player, you want those easier games to integrate him into your team and into your offense.
I love watching Rick Carlisle coach, because even with Rondo coming in there, a guy, again, not great with the jumper. He's been knocking down threes as of late a little bit with the Mavs, but not a...
That's a bit fool's gold.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. He's not going to be, Kyle Korver from three-point distance. But Rick Carlisle knows that. Yeah. So what does he do? Well, he makes sure that he has, stretch 3 and 4 guys out there. Like Charlie Villanueva. Villanueva's getting some pretty solid minutes, only because he's a big guy like Dirk that can shoot.
He can shoot.
And he knows if you've got Rondo out there, and even Ellis to some extent, guys that want to drive and get in there, that you've got to have some stretch. I mean, they have 4 guys out there. They try to at least that can really shoot the basketball.
Takes the pressure off him. But the Charlie Villanueva thing, they obviously took that into account when they made the trade. Somehow Rick Carlisle felt this guy had still something left to contribute because he's basically been non-existent in the league for the last 2 years. Yeah. And now he's giving them some valuable minutes.
So 2 weeks of games, you're convinced that Charlie Villanueva is going to be
let's not get too pumped.
I'm just more convinced Rick Carlisle is brilliant.
Yeah, he's good.
Let's not get too pumped about Charlie Villanueva. He didn't play yesterday, and he doesn't need to play. The biggest thing is that Rondo is always with the guard on the floor that can score. You know, whether we just saw J.J. Barea or Devin Harris or Monte Ellis, those guys can score. So he's not playing with a guy who just can't do anything. Yes, Rondo obviously lacks the shooting ability, but when you have a guy who can always score, and you have a team that says, listen, you're not going to dominate the ball, but Rondo, just get off the ball. I mean, guys are telling him, get off the ball. You want the ball. He's calling for it, but they're saying, listen, we have an offense that's working so well, and we're running it extremely well, and he's just sort of fit in. And people who said he's hard-headed, he's coachable, and it's working out pretty well.
Oh, absolutely. And a question was, and you said it, Tass, was like, how will Rondo and Ellis work? I mean, Monte Ellis' numbers haven't changed whatsoever. Definitely haven't gotten worse. Really only gotten a tad better in terms of shooting the ball from distance. And you wonder if that, just Rondo being there opens up a little more space for him.
And he has, in the past, played with other point guards, played with Steph Curry, played with Brandon Jennings at the time. He has played off the ball in the past. I don't know that we're not totally in a honeymoon period right now where everybody wants to get along, but it's working well so far.
And there it is. A look at Ellis' numbers. He still has it all.
Yeah, and
Monte Ellis always has it all.
He's still getting to the line just the same amount of times, and his steals are up. What is that saying that Monte Ellis is playing better defense? Well, I think team defense is better on this team, and that's exactly what they made the move for. Are they still a little too thin? That was another worry. Trading Brandon Wright, their bench got a little bit thinner. I think they are. They're playing Greg Smith at the big spot. He just doesn't have the hands that Brandon Wright had. They just can't score at the big spot. They've got an extra roster spot still available. Teams are allowed to sign guys to 10-day contracts today, so they could be looking to sign somebody.
Maybe Emeka Okafor?
Emeka said he's not playing this year already.
Sorry, reports. Could be a Jermaine O'Neal, but Emeka's going to come back.
All right, well, let's talk about another team who's been fantastic, but not because of a guy they added, possibly because of a guy they've let go. And I mean really said, hey, just go away and we'll pay you $27 million. I'm talking about the Pistons, who have now won 5 in a row since, again, the addition, maybe by subtraction, of waiving Josh Smith. And in the East, I mean, I'm joking here a little bit, but 5 wins puts you right back in the playoff hunt.
Sure.
That's not a joke.
They're only 4 games out of the 8th seed after winning 5 straight. And the competition, who they've beaten, you're not your best teams in the league by any stretch of the imagination there. You see it there, the Pacers on that list, the Cavs missing some guys, Magic, Knicks, and Kings there on the weekend. But dominant wins, which is nice, which they didn't do a whole lot, picking up double-digit wins.
They didn't do it all.
Didn't do it at all with Josh Smith, that's right, Lee. But is it, just as simple as a guy that maybe because of chemistry issues or whatever rotation issues in Josh Smith going away has suddenly got this team playing better basketball?
It's part of it. I think it is part of it. There's a bit of a culture change where they sort of know who they are, and they come out and they enjoy playing basketball again. It sure seems like they're playing more of a Stan Van Gundy style. They're shooting a lot more threes, 33% more threes the last 5 games.
Yep.
It sort of coincided with Jody Meeks returning to the team.
Yep.
Yes, people say, Jody Meeks, who? Who cares? Well, he does something extremely well. He opens up space for guys.
Yep.
He just runs around screens, and you have to pay attention to him. And that's why their offense is better. They just didn't know who they were with Josh Smith on the offensive end, and now they're coming down to the wire, and they're getting some buckets. So that's a big part of it. Josh leaving just kind of makes this team sort of know who they are, and then when Jody Meeks works it in, I mean, the guy can score.
The roles are more defined. There's more spacing on the court. There's more speed, and everybody is just playing where they should be. Like Brandon Jennings is handling the ball.
Right.
And small forwards are actually guarding small forwards. Things are just working a little bit better now, and people are smiling more and they're having fun.
They are.
It helps.
You can definitely tell out there their body language on the floor is a lot looser now. And now it's up to Brandon Jennings to run that offense, because what happened was Josh Smith was getting it and it would just slow down and guys were just standing around not knowing what was going to happen. But now with Jennings, I mean, he's one of those guys, he can shoot you in or shoot you out of any game. But when he's hot like this, he's pretty fun to watch and he's hard to stop.
He's on fire right now. I mean, a great weekend for Jennings. When you think of a guy like Jody Meeks, though, like a guy that really does space the floor, you immediately think, well, okay, that's going to open up tons of room inside for your bigs, your Drummonds, your Monroes. And I think it does to some extent, but you sort of forget that you get a shooter out there, it opens up driving lanes for guys like Jennings, even DJ Augustine, to really attack. There is literally just more space for them to go around their guy, because the other guy has to stick with a guy like Meeks who's running around like crazy, and you got to focus on him. So
There's a lot of eyeballs on Meeks.
It
And
does
that
make
opens
some
it up for
sense.
Monroe and Drummond as well. I think Drummond's just a happier fellow as well. a lot
Anthony-
of smiles. You gotta
Anthony-
count
All about
smiles.
smiling.
Anthony Tolliver says he's the real reason for the Pistons turnaround. He says he has a very strong mojo, very positive mojo, so maybe it's
People
that.
say
Take
about
his
him.
word for it.
Great
All
mojo.
right, we got
Balotelli.
lots more still to come here on the starters. When we come back, we're going to enter the Bone Zone, find out whether Brent Barry thinks the Atlanta Hawks are for real. Welcome back to the Bone Zone. Two-time NBA champ Brent Barry is back, and he's confused with this configuration. Two-time NBA champ, 14-year vet,
That one.
Brent
That
Barry,
one.
joined by two-time NBA champ Brent Barry. That's right there.
Oh, there it
It's
is.
tough to
There's that
find.
one.
It's a fun game. Bones.
Dang it, I almost caught it.
Almost had it.
Guys.
Brent.
Oh, you're getting. Oh, I thought you were getting.
Oh, I
better.
almost had
60
it.
degrees.
Almost got it. We'll get it. We'll get it next week. Back into the Bone Zone. There he is. Two-time
Okay, I
NBA
got it.
champ. 14-year vet, Brent Barry. He found the camera.
I got it.
Here we go.
I got it.
Good way to start the year.
Great way to start 2015.
Bone Zone is everywhere.
Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year to you guys.
Good holidays,
Nice to
I hope?
See you. Yes, very good. I hope you guys enjoyed your time off. I hope people realize how much work that you guys do put in here on a daily basis.
Lee Ellis, he doesn't
And,
do anything.
no, I was looking at you.
Oh, okay, good. I'm just kidding. Okay, good.
So, yeah.
All right,
was nice.
so we thought we'd have some fun with you here today. Almost like a little quiz, a little true or false
Okay.
quiz to touch on a few topics in the NBA. First one, very simple. True or false, the Atlanta Hawks are the best team in the East right now.
False.
Ooh, despite having the best record.
Yes,
in the East.
this is when people go, are you out of your mind?
Right,
Yes,
right.
18-2 since Thanksgiving, and I know that Coach Bud has these guys playing at an extremely high level. I just don't know that they're as complete as what the Chicago Bulls are. And by the end of this week, I think Chicago will take off and be in first place in the Eastern Conference. But that doesn't mean that what Atlanta has done has not been incredibly impressive. People have not expected this type of run. One of the things that I will say about Coach Bud and the way that they've gone out on the West Coast and taken care of their business, some people don't put two and two together sometimes with regards to the coach and how Bud knows the Western Conference better than he knows the Eastern
Yeah, that's a good
Conference. I
point.
mean, there's been so many years that Bud has had to prepare the Spurs in his position under Pop to get ready for opponents out there, that he understands how the coaches and players operate when they get to the West Coast, something that Washington, Randy Whitman, doesn't know quite as well.
Right.
Dwayne Casey does know the West, but Bud knows it in a way it's a little bit different than everybody else. And they've got just contributions from everybody that have been great. Jeff Teague, Kyle Korver, bench has been good, DeMarre Carroll, Schroeder. Really impressed by what they're doing.
Do you see any semblance to the 2004 Detroit Pistons in this team? Like, not one player or one play they rely on, a lot of contributors, good bench, good teamwork.
I think, Lee, that there's not the element of toughness that I would put with regards to that Detroit Piston team, and there might not be kind of the alpha player that Detroit had. There were certainly Chauncey Billups in the way that he played, but the way that Rasheed Wallace took on so much of what happened in terms of damage control for that basketball team. This team remains faceless and egoless, and those are very positive things, but there's still just a couple things with regards to their toughness and inside play that are question marks about being a championship caliber team. Now, is Atlanta a very good team? Absolutely.
Right.
The guys know their roles? Absolutely. And are they prepared and ready? For sure. But I don't know about championship caliber.
Yeah.
But
We'll
you
find
better
out.
be ready.
I hear about the big spots. I mean, the lack of size there. I mean, imagine matched up against the Bulls with Millsap and Horford.
And
matched
that's
up
where-
against two monsters.
And I think, Tass, to your point, that's where the Bulls sort of make out on everybody in the Eastern Conference, maybe other than what the Wizards present to you because of Gortat and Nene and what they can do with Seraphin and even DeJuan Blair, who's sitting on their bench, who might have minutes still to come for that basketball team. But so far, so good for the Hawks.
All right, next one here. True or false? The New York Knicks should shut down Carmelo Anthony for the rest of the season. Throw in the towel. He's got the knee issues. Sit him down. True or false?
I would say false to that because I still think there are valuable lessons for what it is that the coaching staff needs and what it is that Melo needs to have some signals that this year is not a complete waste. At 5-31, it's easy to say that, but I will tell you, as a player that played on teams that struggled throughout the year, there's still a lot of lessons that can be learned as a player and as a connection to the coaching staff that are still on the table for the New York Knicks moving forward. And I know that, people would say, well, it's a waste of a year. Why would you put him in jeopardy of injuring himself
A guy
further?
that just signed a $124 million contract, too.
I get that part of it, but to me, the injury doesn't sound as significant as Melo needing to have season-ending surgery. It hasn't reached that level yet, so a maintenance program and those kind of things, which are becoming quite in vogue in the NBA, by the way, could be something the Knicks consider. But there's still some importance, in my opinion, as the guy who's the leader of that team, wanting to play, needing to play, and having him be out on the court until the time comes, maybe after the All-Star break, when there's 15 games to go or something, if it's something that's ailing him, that might happen. But that word right now, and Derek Fisher dismissed the idea about shutting down Melo. It's just that they're going to make sure they navigate this a little bit differently.
Final one.
Yep.
True or false, your New Year's resolution is to learn every Pearl Jam song on guitar. Now, that's a lot of songs.
No, that catalog is just...
It's like, what, 700 plus songs?
Yeah, that's too deep.
Okay, do you have a New Year's resolution then? So false to that.
Yeah, false to that. New Year's resolution, try to drive the speed limit more often. Or nearer to the speed
You're
limit.
driving pretty slow.
You go slow, dude.
I'm in carpool quite a bit. I'd like to step on it. There's open roads in Texas. I need to get to there.
Red Berry, everyone. That's the Bones Zone. We got to take a quick break. Thanks, Bones.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. When we return, how many shots can Tony Allen miss in one possession?
What a week for wedgies.
3, 4, 5. Oh, we'll get to wedgies as well.
you.
Come on back.
You don't know the half of it, Brent.
Back with the starters. We had some holiday wedgies over the last couple days or time, and we'll get to those. But let's first start with the weekend whoopsie. Let's just look at the weekend.
The New York Knicks. Everyone expects J.R. Smith to shoot, including Jason Smith.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
Jason Smith.
we all expected it.
Smith on
To
Smith
shoot it
violence
up
here.
there.
Brotherly love.
Ronnie Price, Sunday. Fast break dunk coming up. Here we go. No.
Price is wrong.
Price is wrong, Bob.
Nice try. He got up, though.
Yeah.
Got the
he's
rim.
got hops. Look at the poor Lakers bench. Sacramento was disappointed.
Tony Allen with a breakaway layup here. Don't think about it, Tony. Just don't think about it. Oh, no.
He was trying to wedgie it.
All right, you got
All
another
right,
shot. You
got
got
it.
another shot. Let's do it.
Run it back. Here
Oh,
we go.
no. Blocked from behind. Oh, ball saved.
Got it.
I got it. It's mine. No. One more time. No. Offensive goaltending. 4 attempts. One possession. Oh.
Wow. Wow. That is
Love
unbelievable.
what
All right. Same game. Memphis has the ball up 1. Clock running down. Kobe. Check him out there, top of your screen. He wants a foul. Hey, we got a foul. He's clapping. Let's go. Jeremy, foul. I got it. Now, again, we'll get another look at this. He is screaming.
Well, you should probably foul. Come on.
Foul.
Hello.
Oh, boy. Communication problems.
This last one is fantastic. Thunder's Nick Collison and Steven Adams, their pregame handshake. They say forget all the extra stuff, the handshake fluff. They just go in for a full handshake, look each other in the eye, man-on-man handshake. Yes, that's how we get it done.
Can't have fun without Funaki.
No, that's not like that. I like Durant waiting. Are you guys done? You guys done shaking hands? All right. So there it is. All right, as I said, we had a lot of wedgies at the end of 2014. None yet in 2015, but some over the break.
Yeah, we had 3 great ones. We show you each one, and these are all fantastic. The rare free throw wedgie
Now
from
that is
Nick
a
Collison.
snowflake.
That is a snowflake. Good to hear you say that, Trey. Also, Eric Bledsoe. I mean, this is pretty unique as well. The block from behind, fantastic. Then Alex Len even gets his hand on it. A couple hands.
It's like a 3-man wedgie, yeah.
Yes, it's okay if it's
Just
a
like high
three-way,
school.
yeah. And then Anthony Tolliver, recently traded to the Pistons. His first game, his first minute, his first shot.
Wow.
As a member of the Detroit Pistons.
That's why they're not losing.
A wedgie. Anthony Tolliver, that's gross. 5 days without a wedgie. May you all have wedgies in 2015.
Yeah, we don't have one yet. Hopefully tonight. All right, let's unleash the unicorn. Let's get to the starters. Fantasy Minute. It's the pickups of the week presented by the General Insurance League. A few guys, fantasy basketball players should consider grabbing.
Hassan Whiteside of the Miami Heat has been making the most of his minutes over the last 4 or 5 games. It's worth grabbing, especially if you need block shots. Donald Sloan, probably one of the most picked up and dropped players
I was going to say,
in
we have
all of
Donald Sloan on
fantasy.
this list
As long as
100%.
George Hill remains out, which he's expected to be out for another couple of games, grab him while you can and then fling him aside when George Hill comes back. But the guy I want to focus on is the rookie from the Nuggets, Yusuf Nurkic, who's been seeing his minutes steadily increase throughout the season, and he's really making the most of them now, giving you, in the last couple of games, double-doubles plus 4 blocks a game, and he likes to mix it up a little bit too, and you know the Denver Nuggets like that toughness and that aggressiveness. So if Yusuf Nurkic is available in your league and he's not announced because I grabbed him, go and grab him.
Oh, wow. You're desperate.
I am.
You're desperate. You're at the bottom of the standings.
You like
You're just
old
like
school
me.
ball. You like you.
All right, we got to take one more break. When we return, a pick 'em payoff tiebreaker. and the triumphant return of Lee's very solid play. Come on back. Welcome back to the starters.
You can call it a comeback.
Yeah, you can. You can. Look at this, guys. So December 26th here, way back in 2014. Remember that year, Lee?
Mm-hmm.
It was a
Just
great
like
year.
yesterday.
What a year.
Tass, yeah, with the unbelievable comeback on the last night of our possible December battle. He went 4-1, I go 2-3. So we're all tied up, 52 and 31. Again, this is for December.
So we got to tie break it.
We're going to the tiebreaker. We agree on 3 games tonight, and these are great games tonight across the NBA. We both like the Bulls, the Wizards, and the Clippers. The 2 games we disagree on, so we could tie again, is I'll take the Hornets in Boston, you got the Celtics, and I'll take the Warriors at home, and you've got the Thunder coming in there. If we do tie, we'll just have another tiebreaker.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Because on Wednesday,
The loser's going to have to eat one of these. It's not going to look as good as this.
the
It's not
loser,
going to look as good as this.
the loser has to eat an entire fruitcake.
Bring it back here.
can
I'm
buy it,
going to
man.
eat
The
that
size of
thing.
my-
This is. I'm not going to get another chance to eat a fruitcake like this.
I hope I win. I got a cold right now. I have no appetite.
Yeah,
I really do not want to try. What are you doing to that fruitcake, man?
Gobbling it down.
Just leave it alone. So there you go. So one of us will be eating a fruitcake throughout the entire show, or at least trying to. I don't know how this is going to go.
I'm going to do it.
Yum.
I'm going to come in hungry.
I hope I win. This one's so bad. All right, Lee, before we get to very solid play of the night,
Yes.
we've got some fan signs that
Yes.
we wanted to show us.
Yeah, the first one comes in from JP Voss, NBA, We the North. She's in the Buck zone and she's got a little no bones there. So I don't know if that's a shot at Bones or not, but
I would hope
nice
not.
little sign there. The next one comes in from Serial Sign Centerinera, self-defeating down in Miami. This was the Christmas Day game. Miami lost LeBron, but we still have the starters. Yes, you do.
King of the signs.
Michael. And no, we have a great sign here. Look at this one from home court. This one comes in from Jackson and Katie Scott out in Portland. They couldn't get the win against the Atlanta Hawks, but look at this sign they made for us. Fantastic.
Love it.
Got
Oh, yeah,
all
close up.
the elements
Yes.
on there. They've got caw. They've got it's a very watchable game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Skeet does it. That's the one. That's what I'm looking for. What a fantastic job by Jackson and Katie. So hopefully that compensated for the loss.
Those are great, but I wanted to show you guys this. Trey, Isla Joe, your little baby girl, taking in her first NBA game, and she got abducted by Benny the Bull.
Yeah, people in the concourse were a little concerned that I'd given my 2-month-old to a man in a bull costume, but I would trust that man with my life.
That looks fantastic. All right, Lee, let's get to the very solid play of the night.
Going to the Suns and Raptors game from last night, and it's a simple one. It's just a quick, easy ball movement. The ball really is a player. You've just got to move it around yourself, and that's what the Suns do here.
Ball is a player,
Find
yeah.
Markieff Morris down low, and he puts it in. I mean, that's what a solid play is. Everyone getting involved, everyone getting a touch, the ball moving around, and you get a high percentage look, and the ball goes in nicely. And that's what I call a very solid play.
There it is, VSP. There it is, the starters for a Monday. We'll be back tomorrow. As I said, great NBA schedule tonight, so we'll be breaking down a few of the games and the big storylines. Join us then.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, as you can see by the injuries to LeBron James, turning 30 years of age is terrible.
Brace the night, people.